Let's get started with App Builder and Data Editor. Welcome to section 2 of the Beekeeper video training guide. Before we do anything on Beekeeper, let's create a project by visiting the settings section, and we can do this by clicking the spanner icon. Select the projects tab, which should be pre-selected, and name it Weather Project. You can also add an optional image and a description to help distinguish between other projects in your carousel. We are going to start by creating an application. To create an application, click on the plus icon on the bottom of your directory, which is on the left side menu. Enter the name Weather App, with no spaces of course, and now that you have your new application ready, you will need to select it in the menu. Okay, let's create our first step. To recap, Data Editor is used to create our properties and objects for our application. Let's start by creating our first string property, and then later on in this guide we'll be using the value entered in this string property to grab data from a third-party library. Begin by selecting the Data Editor tab and then click on the Add New Property button. Enter current location as a name and then click on Save. Let's switch back to App Builder by clicking on the application in the directory or by clicking on the App Builder button in the top menu. Clicking on the application, preferably, is my shortcut to switch back to App Builder. We are now going to create our first business feature. Business features are a reusable block of business functionality that either represent a standalone business feature, for example, a SIM card activation, or a combination of different business functionalities that are an important part of the construction and end-to-end journey. These features will consist of resources, best way to call them are steps actually, which will be used to further tailor the needs of your flow of your journey. To create a new business feature, click on the three dots on the right hand side of your application in the navigation menu and enter send location as the name of our first business feature. Once you do that, click save. Just a quick note, you can also add a user experience template or UX template to a step. User experience configuration will be handled in section 7 of this video training guide. Now that we have created our business feature earlier, we are going to create our first step, which will be used inside this feature. First, select the three dots on the right hand side of the feature in the directory, which again is the left hand side panel, and name it current location, then click save. Now select the step in the directory. Your steps will contain either user-defined properties and objects, which will allow the user on the front-end application to define their values, or third-party based properties, values populated from a third party will be placed here. Okay, so now that we figured out how to configure a step, we now need to add a create link. We will go over what create links mean in the next section, but for now, let's add our create link to this step. Two of the main links used throughout your Beekeeper flow will be create and edit links. Basically, create links add a resource. Edit links allow you to edit that resource. Add a create link by clicking on the edit in the top right hand corner if you're not already inside, and select the integration and rules section with the add button. Under the integration and rules section on the left, a create link should now be available. Hit save and then select preview through the App Builder tab, which is the second tab. Previewing an application. We are now reviewing our current progress by previewing our resources. Basically, the preview tool allows us to test and review what we have built by going through each resource as if they will be perceived on the front end-to-end solution. Previewing the application is usually the first step towards testing your application too. The preview tool will go through each resource or step depending on your configuration, enabling you to assess the presentation and the functionality of each business feature. Alright, at this point of our journey, I believe we have done enough work, so we do need to create a copy in case anything goes wrong. And one way we can do this is by using work streams. We can make a copy of our work by cloning a work stream. Cloning your work stream will allow you to work on or manage different versions concurrently, and by doing this, you can design, test, preview, and publish your application elements agnostically. Work streams can also be imported or exported to a zip file, or even better, they can also be deployed to a Git repository. To clone a workstream, you can either click on the version tab or button in the App Builder section, or you can click on the Workstreams button and underneath there'll be a button labeled Manage. Once on the Workstreams section, you can click on New Workstream, select Source. We can call the source default because we haven't created an additional workstream before. Once on the workstream section, click New Workstream, then switch to the Source tab, and then under Choose Source, select Workstream. Since we have not created any additional workstream so far, we are going to use the default workstream as our source. Now switch back to the Properties tab, give it a name and an optional description if you want. Select Development as a type, and then click on Save. Great. To summarize the section, here is your first exercise of section 2. Let's create what we've seen so far, but now inside a completely new project. I want you to create a new project, create an application, then you will need to create a feature, then also create a step. You can name these whatever you want. The whole point of this exercise is for you to refamiliarize yourself of what we've learned, because this will be very important going further. Pause now, and once you're ready to continue, switch back to the initial projects.